Hello, welcome back. I'm going to attempt to finish this the rest of the painting tonight, so we can go on with our next project. And so the fence is what we're going to tackle, and what I've been doing a little bit here is it's kind of a rough fence, so there's a lot of texture. So this is where we're getting towards the end of the painting, so we can be a little bit more textury. So I'm painting with this round brush, and I am using the belly of the brush and kind of dry brushing it so that I can get some texture. And I'm going just kind of smudging it in there. It's chalky. We're gonna try to get that look of old wood. Now he did it in watercolors, so the look is going to be different. It's almost like we're not gonna necessarily try to match it. It would be like trying to match a watermark in some of these areas where he seems like he did a lot of drippy watermarks. But we'll try a little bit. We'll make it look like a old wood fence. And if you notice, the colors that he uses here are warm colors. So this is going to give us a lot of bring everything forward. And we have the lavenders and blues in the back, which are making everything recede into the background. So that's why I think this painting is so effective in creating dimensionality. So now that we did that, it's going to dry a little bit. While it's drying, we're going to do some foliage, and we're going to kind of punish this brush so up and down in a stipple type of shape. And we're going to just get some foliage in here, up and down, kind of. Also down here, let's get some. Let me see if this is showing up or not. Yep, there it is. And some of that went up the fence a little bit. I'm going to come back and maybe tone it down a little bit. Make it a little, the edges can be a little bit more subdued. Not so harsh. Remember, you don't want to attract too much attention to an area. And if you go too much contrast, that's exactly what's going to happen. So I don't want that to happen here. So I'm adding a little bit of just kind of a milky edge, soft. Okay, so now I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and I'm going to put in some. It's got a little bit of like a violet color there because the violet works so well with the yellows. It's the opposite in our color wheel. So there's quite a bit of lavender that he's got, just because it looks pretty together. See? And what happens, it tones down that bright, warm color. You don't want a screaming fence. So what does he do? Then he glazes it over with the complement, which is violet. And it does the job perfectly. He tones that bright yellow down. So that's what I'm talking about when you are learning color theory by learning from the masters. See how they approach this. And that's too much white, so we're going to put a little bit of raw umber there, because it is a wood fence, and there's some areas where there is some kind of old rickety, so they're kind of spread out, almost falling off apart. So over here, what I did is I separated so that I know that there's one right here, and there's, see, that's little blocks of and the top of the fence here, it's going to have some light, because it's at the very top, so they're lighter. The light's hitting it, the different sections of the fence. So every once in a while, especially the ones here closer to the viewer's eye, it's going to be a little bit lighter. So we're just going to put a little bit of a highlight there, okay, to bring that a little more sharper area. Now this is one of those bigger, I don't know, 4x4s, or when they made the fence, they used that thick wood there, a block of wood, to hold it together. Okay, so that's too heavy. I think for that I might use my square shader, my square brush. See if I can bring it down a bit. And here I went off line. And this is not as important because this is, you know, just a fence. You just don't want to take attention from your main subject. All right, so that's how I'm going to spend more time, but that's kind of on it on my own, because it's a little bit awkward painting this with overhead, but that's the idea. That's how I want you to get those lines, but I want you to get a lot of texture. Your lines don't have to be perfect, because this fence looks like it's falling apart, and it's kind of like part of the charm of it. And everyone's fence is going to be different. Okay, so it's kind of cool. Just I think I want a little more white in here, but that's too white, too much white, so we add a little yellow ochre. I love all the colors that he has on that fence. It's wonderful. See, so this is, I'm dry brushing. And a combination of brushing and dry brushing and glazing. It looks like maybe there was some nails, it got rusty, and it's got some of those rusted nails, kind of that rust dripping down. Okay, so have fun with your foliage. I think that you will. How can you not? Because it's so loose, you basically can't go wrong. As long as you keep your nice juicy paint. Okay. Now, maybe a little more umber right up in here. Maybe find a little more spread out in between. And see that little square shader, it's just sort of the size of the edge of the fence. Just almost. All right, so you can continue, spend as much time as you want with it. You can keep getting it closer and closer. You're going to get out of it what you put into it, basically. That's how this works. I think I want to do a little bit of dry brushing on this with the side in this area right here by the fence. It's too light. I want to give it a little bit of like a frame. So I don't want to leave this too light, this corner. I want to add a little bit, and I'm going against the grain in this case. You know how I usually say go with the grain, and yeah, mostly we did go with the grain up and down, but in here, every once in a while, you just break it up and go against the grain just to give you that texture. And that darker value in this area here. so that you have a little bit of a, so that the eye doesn't just wander out without, this is like a little comma type of thing. Think of it, like take a little bit of color there, a little pause. Okay, I think that's it. I think this is probably going to be the last one. There's going to be little things that I'm going to do to it. I'm going to work a little more with her. There's this flowers, little bits of flower going up the fence, but I think you know how to do that from the last lesson. And maybe give a few more blades of grass here, of that foliage, and I'm gonna have a little bit of flowers in there, and that's it. I will do a little more to it. I'm not sure yet what, but I'm just gonna fiddle here and there with it. But I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and we can get started with our red barn, or our China painting. I have a few projects going on. It's a little, yeah, I'll be picking at it a little bit, like little highlights here and there. And yeah. Well, thanks for watching, and enjoy. Have fun with this project. See you later.